The sun is shining, the heat is on in Montclair, New Jersey. New York Red Bulls 2 hosting Atlanta United 2 in USL Championship action here on ESPN+. David Goss and Mike Grella joining you for this one. It should be a fun one. These two teams, their second time facing off this year. For New York Red Bulls 2, drama midweek at Bethlehem Steel. A massive comeback to win late 4-3 on the road. On the flip side for Atlanta United 2, on the back right now of a 4-game losing streak. And Mike, when you look at this game, two teams that like to play high energy, but the sun's out, it's beaten, the heat is on.
Yeah, it's a really hot game here today, so it'll be interesting to see how they play. I know Atlanta likes to open up and play possession, but Red Bull like to press, so it sets up to be a really nice game. We'll see how the heat affects it, though.
When you talk about this possession team for Atlanta United, the big star name on the starting lineup today, Andrew Carleton.
Yeah, Andrew Carleton, a name we've heard for a few years now. He played in 6 games last year, started 2 for Atlanta United, and we'll see what he can do here tonight, but a really exciting player to watch.
Looking to get himself back on track here, still just 19 years old. On the flip side, when you talk about young players for New York Red Bulls 2, John Tolkien making his second ever professional soccer appearance, had an assist midweek.
Yeah, John Tolkien, a guy that Red Bulls 2 are really excited about. He's a really intelligent player. He can do a lot. They really don't even know where his best position is yet because that's how well-rounded he is.
John Tolkien right now has played, as you said, as a 6 midweek, coming off the bench, had an assist in his first ever USL appearance, and now he's starting at left back for New York Red Bulls 2 in this one. Heavy changes for both sides, but deep rosters for both teams as well, including Tom Barlow, the leading goal scorer for New York Red Bulls 2, on the bench, coming off 2 goals and assists against Bethlehem Steel. We've got some great soccer action coming up for you next here on ESPN+.
With MSG Go, the game goes where you go. So you can watch live Red Bulls games anywhere you want. It's free and easy because if you get MSG, you get MSG Go. Watch your favorite team wherever you are with MSG Go, presented by Lexus. Download it for free where you get your apps.
Lima gets it back. He will take a strike.
Played in. Laurel gets a hand to it.
Denied by Laurel from point blank.
He's standing on his head right now.
Marcus Epps finds some space.
Barlow putting it in, back of the net. No slowing down, number 74. New York puts the exclamation point on this one tonight.
New York Red Bulls 2 sitting in 3rd place in the Eastern Conference, trying to rise up in the standings. Atlanta United 2 trying to break a 4-game losing streak. And let's take a look at the starting lineup for Atlanta United 2. A late addition, George Campbell at center back after an injury to Kendall Edwards. Campbell signing a homegrown deal with Atlanta United earlier this week. A lot to look out for this squad, with Chris Goslin in at holding midfield, and of course Jackson Conway and Andrew Carleton, as well as Luis Fernando up in the attack. And on the flip side, for New York Red Bulls 2, Sean Nealis returning for New York Red Bulls 2 with the return of Tim Parker and Aaron Long with the Major League Soccer side. John Kofi as well will start in midfield along Kyle Zayats and Chris Lima, and then the front attacking 3 of Jorgensen, Epps, And Jared Stroud, 7 goals, 5 assists, had the late goal to get the win on the road against Bethlehem. That man, John Wolyniec, in his 5th season, 4 years in a row, he has made the postseason 3 years in a row, the Eastern Conference Finals on top of a USL Championship double in 2016. And on the flip side for Atlanta United too, a new man manning the bench for them, Stephen Glass, in his first season as head coach, coming from the U17 squad, taking over for Atlanta United too. And when you look at this, Mike, for Stephen Glass, connecting the academy more to the USL side, knows these players as young players, knows the system well, and now trying to get them into their pro debuts.
It's like we spoke about earlier. It's not something that just happens overnight. It's difficult to put a team together and get them to be coherent with what you want and who you trust and the players that you want to play and the way that you want to play. So we'll see how it gets going in the rest of the season. Obviously, this season hasn't been such a great start for them.
Our head official, John Fremont, gets us started here. Atlanta United 2 in their black kits with the 5 red stripes on them. An early start here for New York Red Bulls 2, and they almost break through in the opening seconds. Atlanta going right to left on your screen. New York Red Bulls 2 in their gray tops with red shorts going left to right on your monitors for this one. David Gotts and Mike Corello with you on ESPN Plus for what should be a fun game. As you said on the open, 2 clubs with distinct ideas of how they want to play the sport and 2 styles that are different. It'll be interesting to see how they match up. We saw how entertaining it was last week in Major League Soccer with a 3-3 tie down at Mercedes-Benz, and it's been entertaining so far in these 2 years in USL.
That's right. This game sets up really well because Atlanta wants to open up and play and hit you on the counterattack, and Red Bull want to press and sort of make a frantic game. So it really sets up well. As you see there in the first few seconds, they try to play a cube pass, Red Bull pick it off and get a really good chance.
Jared Stroud right now running high on confidence, coming off a big game against Bethlehem Steel. And as we said, Tom Barlow right now 4th in the Golden Boot standings in the USL Championship as that one flies out off the foot of Rashid Nuhu. Nuhu making his 2nd ever USL Championship appearance. John Tolkien at left back as well, making his 2nd ever appearance. Tolkien just 17 years old. It'll be a good battle for Tolkien against the big name of Andrew Carlton out there on that wing as Gosselin puts the press on. Chris Gosselin, one of those early 5 homegrown signings by Atlanta United in their first ever year of existence. George Bello, a part of that group, as well as Lagos Kunga. Bello struggling with injuries this year. Kunga on loan with Memphis right now in USL.
Really good pass from Tolkien there. Really intelligent. Little back heel pass.
You talked to John Wolyniec about him before the game, and one of the things John said was he's confident. He's brave when he trains with the USL squad, when he trains with the first team. Back heel pass up the line in the opening 3 minutes of your first ever start in a pro game at left back. Pretty ballsy.
Yeah, well, usually when you hear about a guy like Tolkien and you hear about his qualities, about how he's so good with the ball and can see passes and can see things coming, high IQ soccer player, you don't necessarily hear, those don't usually go with the words brave,
right,
and wants to tackle and wants to work hard, but he can do that stuff too, so it just speaks to how well-rounded he is.
Great run there from the center back, George Campbell. Campbell, his 12th appearance in USL Championship this year, signing that homegrown deal. That deal will go into effect in January of next year, so still with this USL group until then. And of course, we'll play much more USL minutes after that as well as he starts to get settled. Miles Robinson, though, a good example of a young center back who got minutes with Atlanta United 2 last year and now has become the full-time starter in Major League Soccer. Conway in a foot race with Nealis. Nealis able to get there first and plays it back to Nuhu. Sean Nealis starting at center back alongside Preston Kilwine. Jordan Scarlett not getting the start in this one as Epps now puts some pressure on. Cross comes in and Jorgensen just can't get to it.
Awesome bit of play there. They get the ball, they advance it quickly. It looks like exactly what Red Bull 2 want to do. They get the ball wide to Epps. Really good pass across the box, and Jorgensen just a second late.
Marcus Epps manning that right side once again for New York. We talked about it last week. The stats have not been there, but the performances have for Epps. And when you look at this Red Bull 2 team, one of the top 5 scoring teams in the USL Championship, clearly what he's doing is enough for this team to get victories.
Yeah, I like Marcus Epps. I think he's done well. I think his intentions are always there. I think he's put some really good crosses in the box. His final product sometimes could be a little bit better, but this is why he's getting all this experience and another professional year under his belt. Very important for him. And I think, like I said, I really like where he's going and what he does and what he brings to the game.
Free kick coming for New York. Chris Lima standing over this one. The left-footed Spaniard going to serve this one in. Nealis and Kilwine up in the box as options. It's knocked down in the box.
Awesome service, though.
Dylan Castanera back in his native tri-state area, a landing New Jersey native, and he gets his hands on that one. Castanera playing at Columbia University alongside former New York Red Bull 2 star Andrew Tenari. Columbia University has become one of the powers of the Ivy League under Kevin Anderson over the last few years. Dangerous turnover here for Atlanta. Ball clipped in. Stroud tries to bring it down. Space for Stroud, and the shot's blocked out to the feet of Carlton.
You can see when Carlton moves, he's just really sharp in his movements, sharp in his passing, sharp in his movement after he passes the ball, changing speeds. And you can see that just through even just very little plays that don't mean much, but you can see that he has a lot of quality.
And it's so hard for everyone to judge young players, like where they'll fit in, what their levels are. But one of the simple things when you watch soccer is some people move like a soccer player and some people don't. Like from the opening jump when you watch a player play, you can kind of feel it.
I mean, I'm not sure if I'm one of a few, but I can normally tell right away if a player is moving the right way or what position he should be in. Or to me, I mean, that's the first time or second time he's touched the ball, and you could just see he's got a really soft touch and a really good movement about him as a player.
Another dangerous turnover for Atlanta, trying to battle through it here. Lawrence Wyke clips that ball up the field. Foot race now, a chance for Luis Fernando, and Nealis able to recover and get back in and win it. And then at the end, the Massapequa native draws the foul deep in the corner.
Some good bits of soccer. You wouldn't know that it's 90 degrees out there right now. We've had a really fast start to the game. Nealis has started really well and defended really well. I really like that play from Atlanta's Lawrence there. You know, he gets through 2 guys, retains the ball, and then plays a really good pass, dangerous pass. So we've had a really awesome start to this game, and you wouldn't know that this heat is here.
Except for the sweat dripping down my entire body right now. I'm trying to hit weight for my boxing match tomorrow, so my bout. So this is really convenient for me. I don't have to wear a garbage bag instead. As Kofi heads that one wide. Conway brings it down. And Carlton now back on the ball. Andrew Carlton pressured, able to force the turnover. He recovers it back off the foot of Epps. And now Carlton, the big switch of the field. Conway's in an offside position. Yeah. He knew it, too, when he looked over.
Yeah, it was offsides, pretty clear. Carlton there does a little bit too much in the midfield, gets it taken from him, but great response, good attitude, gets the ball back, and plays a pretty dangerous pass.
Nuhu takes this one quickly. Rashid Nuhu out of Fordham University, originally from Ghana, was drafted by the New York Red Bulls in the 2019 Super Draft, had trouble with his visa paperwork getting available for this team, has made 1 start already in USL Championship action, but a young goalkeeper that the New York Red Bull organization is very excited about. And of course, when you're from John Wolynick's neck of the woods at Fordham, you always get a shot.
I'm not sure if that's necessarily true, but it does help.
Janosch Luba as well, a Fordham grad on this team. Epps with some space now to line up the shot. Curls it off the crossbar. Now Jorgensen back on the ball. He cuts one into the box, and it's cleared by Dakis. What an opportunity. The first big one from Marcus Epps, and now back the other way. End-to-end action. Carlton looking through for the feet of Fernando. Some great soccer, as you said early on here.
It's just awesome stuff. Awesome start to this game. I didn't think we would get this with the conditions, but it's been great. It's been end to end.
Jorgensen in an offside position here. Young Dane just going a little too early, but
Yeah.
Mike, this was something that Coach Wolenek really likes about Matthias Jorgensen is how much he wants to stretch the back line and use his speed to change the game.
Yeah, he's always looking to run in behind, and it's really good when you have someone like that because they stretch opposing defenses out. Even sometimes if he makes 5 or 10 runs and doesn't get the ball in those runs, he's really stretching the other teams out. He gives the center back something to think about because natural reaction to that is you need to drop and respect his speed and respect his run. And when he drops, it leaves spaces in between the lines for other players to play in. So it's really effective to have a player that runs in behind the lines like that.
And for a guy like you, similar to Jared Stroud, who wants to come in off the wing, create, score goals, that gives you that extra foot or two when you come in field before you hit those center backs.
In my professional career, I always loved playing behind the striker or around the striker that would stretch the lines and run behind a lot because it always leave me, guys that want to play in between the lines, a lot more space and time on the ball.
Jorgensen lays this one back, knocked away there by Wyke. Now Kofi back on the ball, and a foul will go in favor of Atlanta United too. Atlanta United coming in at 3-9-4 on the season, 15th in the Eastern Conference with a negative 15 goal differential. They've only won one game on the road all season, but a young team still looking to find their feet. So much talent across this team, and a team that lost 3-1 to New York Red Bulls too at home already this season, but created a lot of chances in that game. And Coach Wolenek said coming into this one, they're a team that can hurt us.
Yeah, and I think it's really important as a young player or as a soccer player, every single day you need to wake up in the morning and challenge yourself to try to be better. And so this is just another opportunity to be better. I know their record and their season hasn't been great, but I think a lot of them understand that this is another really awesome opportunity to play against a good Red Bull side and get better at their trade.
Tune in to ESPN 3 on July 17th at 7 p.m. for Wednesday Night Soccer when North Carolina FC aims to stay near the top of the Eastern Conference while USL newcomers Loudoun United look to continue their ascent to a playoff spot. See it on July 17th. That one 7 p.m. on ESPN 3. There's been some fantastic action in the USL Championship over the last few weeks. Real Monarchs' Douglas Martinez, former New York Red Bull 2 player, a hat trick last night for that Real Monarchs side, and of course New Mexico United and St. Louis FC going out in the U.S. Open Cup, the two USL Championship teams in the quarterfinal. Fantastic performance from those two sides. St. Louis FC still about 4 games in hand on everyone else in the Eastern Conference as they look to rise up the standings under Anthony Pulis. John Wolenek's team still in touching distance to get in towards that first place spot. Indy 11 in second place, but with games in hand against the Tampa Bay Rowdies. The Rowdies will come to Montclair State University in just 2 weeks for action as this one's served in. Kofi heads it back into the box. It lands in the box. Chance there for Jorgensen and saved. What a big moment there from Dylan Castanera to keep his side in it.
Yeah, and all that danger comes from the service. I mean, the service has been awesome. The 2 free kicks, pretty far away. I mean, they're not easy to serve the ball in that dangerously from that distance. And you see here, quick little touch. Jorgensen has a really good strike. And from there, with that amount of time, you don't have much time, so you're just trying to get as much foot on as much ball as possible and hit the target. He's done that. Unlucky to find the goalkeeper.
Jorgensen and Epps now both big looks early in this one. As New York's looking to take the lead. They did take the lead on Wednesday against Bethlehem, up 1-0. Eventually ended up trailing 3-1 in that game before their big comeback after the 75th minute. 3 goals from New York Red Bulls too. And that spurred by Tom Barlow. Barlow on the bench here today. Someone we expect to see coming up at some point in this game.
And for those who don't know who Tom Barlow is, he's a goal-scoring machine. And he's unstoppable.
Space here for New York, cut back and knocked away by Dacus. And now Atlanta United too. Going to get on the ball a little bit, the long ball. Luis Fernando's in on goal, and the flag goes up after that touch. But you can see, you always hear for New York Red Bulls too, once we press, teams want to go direct. And we've seen now a few times Atlanta United too be dangerous on that long ball.
Yeah, it's their weakness because they commit a lot of numbers forward and they take risks and chances with the way that they press. A lot of the pressing is really high up the field. So, I mean, most of the times the left back is going to the opposing team's right back. So when that happens, it leaves a lot of space in the back line. The back line has to cover a lot of space and shift very quickly. And with the direct ball, sometimes you don't have enough time to do that.
Campbell with the left-footed ball out to that left side. Good header flicked on there. Big switch for Carlton. Carlton 1v1 now with Tolkien. Andrew Carlton on the ball, trying to get to his right foot. And John Tolkien blocks the cross.
Yeah, good attacking, good defending. I like the natural width that Atlanta has in a lot of these plays, you know. You see Carlton there just sort of peel off 5 yards, and it was enough to get a long ball and go 1v1.
It'll be a throw-in coming here deep in the half. Brandon Claggett making his pro soccer debut, just 17 years old. Playing at right back in this one for Atlanta United too. The man throwing that one in. Claggett here back on the ball, and Tolkien makes the slide tackle. Those two have faced off in USSDA matches in the academy. Now getting a chance to go head-to-head in the USL Championship. John Tolkien committed to go to Wake Forest University. Claggett still yet to declare where he will go. This one floated in, headed down, and another corner kick coming. Dangerous opportunity there for Atlanta United too. It was Lawrence Wyke with the header.
Yeah, you know, in these hot games, mentality is the #1 priority, and both teams have had really good mentality. Really started fast and have kept the pace going.
Another ball to be served in here for Atlanta. Put right on the line. Header away by Jorgensen. Now back in possession for Atlanta United too. Gosselin chasing that one down. Will be Fernando here on the ball. Luis Fernando trying to get between 3 defenders, and that last touch a little too long. So a good spell there for Atlanta United to take off some of the pressure early on here. John Tolkien in preseason with the New York Red Bulls MLS side down in Florida for much of preseason. Had an injury coming out of youth national team camp, so not able to continue early on, and finally working his way back in as Jorgensen puts on the pressure, and now Campbell able to clear his lines. An early commanding performance for George Campbell here. Tolkien steps up and wins it. Stroud with some space. He looks into the feet of Jorgensen. Jorgensen trying to find a teammate, can't find Zayats, and now a chance to break here. The Panamanian Guillermo Benitez on loan from Panama. Starting out at that left back spot for this Atlanta United 2 team. Big switch from Tolkien into Epps' feet. And the tackle won by Dakis.
Yeah,
Oh, what
Tolkien,
a ball there from Tolkien.
I mean, he played another one down the line earlier, down this near-sided, on the near side of the field. That was just perfect, and he just played another one that was perfect. He's done a back heel. He's tackled people. He's defended well.
Epps' cross comes in. Stroud brings it down, cuts it back. A teammate finds it, and New York Red Bulls 2 finally have the breakthrough.
Great finish.
Chris Lima crashing out of midfield, set up once again for the 6th assist of the year by Jared Stroud, and New York Red Bull 2 have the lead.
Yeah, awesome start. And Lima's services, I mean, he served 2 balls in that were perfect. Now he gets a chance to hit a ball 1 time. On the turf, that's not as easy as you think, and he hits it really well, finds the far post. So you hear the switch, really good back pass. And to strike that bouncing ball on the turf first time, it's not easy. He makes it look a lot easier than it is, and it's a fantastic finish
Only
from
the
Lima.
2nd goal of the year for Chris Lima. And credit to Marcus Epps as well on the original cross to find Stroud wide open on that far post.
Yeah, the defending's a little bit open. I mean, he was really wide open on the far post, but to give him the ball there and for him to know, for Stroud to know that he's going to cut it back and the finish, really good stuff. We'll see how Atlanta responds to this.
New York Red Bulls too. Finally get the goal. A couple of chances early on here for the home side, denied by the crossbar, as well as the goalkeeper. But now Lima gets the first finish for New York. These are two teams different in the stats when you look at Atlanta United too, one of the best defensive teams in the USL Championship, but they are tied for last on goals scored. And on the flip side, New York Red Bulls too, the fourth highest scoring team in the league, but one of the worst defensive sides in the USL Championship. Epps now coming across, beats three. Claggett able to get a touch to it, but not enough. And Tolkien up the line again for Epps. Now Epps to serve from the left side. Stroud shot is blocked, and then he taps it in. Goals just a minute apart. New York Red Bulls 2 off and flying.
Another good finish. You know, the first strike is really good. It knocks down to him, and then he really calmly puts that away. Good running. Epps really kind of creates that goal in the midfield for me.
And it looked like Stroud was going to stop and make a penalty kick claim, but he kept his head here and just places the second one in the back of the net.
You dream about those. That one just kind of sat down, right down for him. He just gets to pass it in from 6 yards. Really good build-up play, though. Marcus Epps goes past two players in the midfield there and really opens up the field. Then I really like that pass from Tolkien. There's so many other things you can do with the ball there, but he plays the efficient 5-yard pass, the right pace, so that his teammate can cross the ball better.
And it looked like he was maybe going to line up that clip ball to Jorgensen on the far post, keeps it to Epps. Marcus Epps does not get an assist on that play, but did create that opportunity. And the New York Red Bulls, too, are on parade here. They're running out of the Bulls in the middle of July. 2 goals. So in about the last 35 minutes of soccer New York Red Bulls 2 have played, they've scored 5 goals in the run of play.
Yeah, they've played well. And like we were previously talking about Marcus, you know, he doesn't get an assist or a goal, but he's already clattered the bar. He's gone by a few players. He's got the ball now again.
Gets to the end line, cuts it across, and no one can get a touch to that one from either side. Stroud runs it down. 1v1 here with Claggett. Stroud lays it back for Tolkien. Tolkien serves it on the far post, and it's 3. New York Red Bulls 2 exploding here at MSU Soccer Park. 3 goals in 4 minutes of action.
Sean Nealis with the goal there, the big center back. He's still in the box. I'm not even sure why he's in the box or how he gets there, but really good service again. And really, I mean, he's just that's too much space for a big like that to be alone in the box, and he knocks the header down.
That's why New York Red Bulls 2 are one of the highest scoring teams in the USL Championship. Over the last 5 years, they have set records in the regular season for the amount of goals they've scored. And Mike, this team rampant right now.
Yeah, if you don't match their intensity and their mentality, you're going to be in for a long day, and I don't think Atlanta has done that. On the flip side of that, defensively, they just haven't been good enough. It seems as if they're disjointed, and the guys in the front and even the midfielders looks like they're leaving their back line out to dry a little bit. It seems there's a lot of space, and there's no coherence in the way that they're defending.
And you think about how much time Tolkien's had now the last 5 minutes to make his decision or serve the ball. And you talk about Andrew Carlton or Goslin coming over and trying to help and add to some defensive pressure there.
Yeah, and I think the Atlanta United, sort of the front players have had the right intentions. They've pressed a little bit. They've gotten to good areas. They've been somewhat sharp on the ball. But when you look at the back line and the midfield line, they're a little bit all over the place. If you look at this picture right now, how slow they are to get back and to defend in close spaces. I mean, not really committed defending from Atlanta United too.
Fans, you can follow New York Red Bulls 2 and the rest of the USL Championship all season long on ESPN+, home to USL, MLS, UFC, and more. Join the over 2 million sports fans who have already discovered ESPN+ and watch the championship live every week. Sign up today at ESPNplus.com. David Goss and Mike Grella, happy to join you here on ESPN+ for this one. course, you've been following U.S. Open Cup, Copa America, so much soccer on ESPN Plus with the ICC now coming up as well. Kyle Zayats, who scored against Atlanta United 2 earlier in the season, flashes that one over the crossbar. If you're Atlanta, what do you do now? You're down 3-0. You're not going to cut back with one shot.
Yeah.
How do you now handle or try to the next 10, 15 minutes?
Yeah, it's difficult because now you know what's the mentality? They're away from home on a hot day. Red Bull 2 are just all over them. They can't get a sniff. They can't get any time to play. They're down 3-0 already. So what do? It's difficult. I think you can start by defending a little bit. I think that would be really good.
Carlton with some space down the line for Claggett. He's got two options on the far post, lays it in. No one gets a touch to it. It was Fernando looking for the tap in, that back heel, and he was not able to get contact.
Awesome bit of play from Carlton to spin his defender and put that ball through. And then good pass across. Unlucky not to get a goal there. And I think they need to do what they're doing. Just defend a little bit more, be a little bit more committed. I know it's hot and it's difficult, but in the attack, it looks like they can get chances and they can get goals. So they just need to be a little bit tighter in the back and sort of stick to whatever their defensive game plan is. But right now, for me, the front guys are a little too slow, and the midfielder line is a little too slow to get back and close spaces. And you don't want to see lack of commitment, but it's sort of like going through the motions defensively.
New York Red Bulls 2, a 3-1 win over Atlanta United 2 down in Georgia earlier this season, leading 3-0 here. 3 goals in a matter of 4 minutes of open play. Between the 19th and 23rd minute, Stroud now goes wide. Tolkien, space again. He looks to switch the field into the feet of Buckmaster. Lima can't win possession there, and New York Red Bulls 2 right now raising their level of intensity higher and higher up the field. And now that slide tackle from Buckmaster, dangerous moments there. John Freeman, our head official, and looks like he's going to give his first card of the game.
Yeah, I think Red Bull 2, some of the things you can accuse Red Bull system of is, when they're winning 3-0, they're winning the game right now. Can they keep it a little more? Can they be more clever? Because when playoffs come around and when big games come around and the games are tighter, I think you need to have this soccer IQ, this cleverness about you, The only way they can lose this game now, in my opinion, is with a red card or silly fouls or whatever else. So really just be smart in the way you challenge guys, be smart in the way that you press, be smart in the way that when you have the ball now, you're up 3-0. I think different scenarios require different ways of thinking and different ways of playing.
How hard is it when you're a team that wants to play on the edge, right? Wants to always push yourself, push the game, push the other team, to find an even space where you can still play well, but not over that line?
Yeah, the balance is so fine, which is why it's difficult to do, because you have an identity and you have a way to play, and then you want to win games and be clever. So there's a fine balance in how you do that and how you continue to play, especially in these situations, because it can get really easily misinterpreted as slow it down and just pass the ball around. And it's not that, but I just think in certain situations, still be sharp, still be intense, but wait for a really obvious gap and wait for really obvious moments to get the fourth instead of sort of continue to force it.
Lima now leading the press. Stroud pushing up. Broken well by Atlanta, and Carlton going to push up the field. Early ball towards Conway, and all he finds is Reese Buckmaster's feet.
I think Conway, there was a huge misunderstanding there.
Carlton back on the ball, and Tolkien comes over to win it.
Carlton and Conway were on different pages there. I think Carlton wanted Conway to check in there, and it would have been a really good bit of play if he steps off the back line there. If Conway steps off the back line there, can turn in that really dangerous spot and either run at the back line of Red Bull 2 or play the overlapping run or have a shot. But he just continued to run.
With the heat we have today, we will have hydration breaks in this game. I believe right now there's a bit of an injury being looked at. It looked like the head official waved on the trainer, but now both teams are going over, so it will be a hydration break for this one. David Goss and Mike Grella joining you here on ESPN Plus. New York Red Bulls 2. 3 goals, in 4 minutes And Mike, when you take a look at this one, it looks like a full game highlight reel, except it all happened in 4 actual minutes.
Yeah.
First goal,
Really good finish.
third goal here from Sean Nealis.
Yeah, really good finish. From there, I mean, he's the big center back. I mean, he couldn't see anything better. He just knocks it down and gets it in for the third goal in such a short amount of time. But Atlanta United, too, they just fell asleep for a little while, and that's all it takes for Red Bull 2 to really get after you. It's just a few minutes where you're not really into it, you're not really committed, you're not really closing spaces, and that's really it. And Red Bull 2, everyone knows this, that once they get one, that's when they're the most dangerous.
Yep.
Because their energy raises and they're going for the second one, and you're a little disjointed. So you've got to really be careful after they score the first goal, because those moments are critical. And Atlanta 2 didn't take care of those moments the right way, in my opinion.
Our fans hydrating as well. Make sure, of course, if you're in the area, come on out to MSU Soccer Park. Some great soccer being played, one of the highest scoring teams in the country. Tampa Bay Rowdies will be here at 7 p.m. on July 26th, a Friday night game, dollar hot dog night. And you will be watching 2 of the 3 best teams in the Eastern Conference face off. That should be a very good one. When you look at John Tolkien coming into this one, the question is, can you be a highly technical but maybe not outstanding athletic left back?
Absolutely.
Is that something that you see in the game?
Absolutely, no question about it. My favorite kind of players are intelligent players that they're a step ahead and they can see situations coming, because you don't need to be so athletic if you're smart. If you're smart and athletic, it really does help. And it's not to say he's a professional soccer player, so he is an athlete. And but for me, how fast you run and how strong you are is second or third, as opposed to what your soccer IQ is, in my opinion.
You can get updates and alerts all year long by following your club on ESPN.com. Search for New York Red Bulls 2 and Atlanta United 2, and then click the follow button to keep up with the latest news and scores. Plus, get reminders on the next home matches. Go to ESPN.com now and click follow for your club. I agree with you, Mike. You always want high technical players, but there are some positions where you just need something. Maybe it's speed, maybe it's strength at center back. You know, as smart a player could be, it's hard to find a center back who's 5'6". You know, like there are a few things you just need to check off. The question is at fullback, if you need to have that speed to match opponents or to change the shape of the field when you fly forward.
Yeah, we spoke about, I think it was last week, you know, the fullbacks are really, really important. Traditionally, you'd think your fullbacks are guys who are just going to tackle and defend. Mm-hmm. But in the modern game, fullbacks are guys like Dani Alves, guys that are super technical and super smart with the ball. And you can see Tolkien has a lot of quality with his left foot, and that's why he's so valuable at that position.
2 balls on the field right now. George Campbell having a fantastic first year in the pro game, but that might be a step too far for him to try and play. Campbell, the 6th homegrown signing in the history of Atlanta United, signed that deal just 4 days ago on July 9th. It'll go into effect on January 1st. He made his pro debut in March against the Hartford Athletic. Hartford Athletic making their Dillon Stadium home debut as they are finally ready to move into their permanent digs in Hartford, Connecticut. Jimmy Nielsen's side has had a tough start to their USL Championship existence, but that's the start for a team. Get that home environment. Make your home games a fortress, and then you can start to build on that as you move forward.
Yeah, Atlanta United, too, is for sure. They're looking big picture. They're a club and a team that'll be around for a really long time, and they've invested a ton of money into the program. So they're certainly looking at big picture, and they won't let 1 or 2 seasons. They won't take it too seriously.
Gosselin clips this one into the far post, headed down. Nuhu, the first one to it. And you talk about investment. Their training facility, the largest in Major League Soccer, the largest in the country, and one of the nicest facilities around the world. And these young players get to train there. They get to train alongside the MLS squad. So you get 15, 16-year-olds going in and playing with Joseph Martinez and Leandro Gonzalez-Perez. It's a pretty good learning experience to work under Frank DeBoer as a high school kid.
Absolutely. You couldn't ask for anything more. And it just goes to show you where soccer in this country is going. It's incredible, the advancements that it's made and the investments that they've made in it. Some of the stadiums and how they fill out. It's really been an amazing an amazing increase in interest and an increase in money spent, and soccer in this country is for sure going in the right direction.
Andrew Carlton and Chris Gosselin, two members of the USU 17 national team program that went to the quarterfinals in India at the last World Cup, part of what many hope is the next generation of the U.S. national team, like Tyler Adams and Weston McKinney. This one's clipped over. Now on the hands of Nuhu. Of course, Tyler Adams, the first ever signing in New York Red Bull 2 history. That's a pretty good inaugural player to start out with. Carlton jumping on that Nuhu throw. Not able to keep it inside the lines.
Yeah, I remember meeting Tyler Adams in one of our team meetings. He walks through the door, this scrawny little guy, saying that he's going to leave high school and not go to college, and he's going to play at the USL level and get himself into the first team. I just remember thinking that he was crazy when I first met him, and he's been everything opposite since my first meeting him that day in the meeting room. He is just a fantastic person, fantastic kid, and one of the best soccer players you'll play with as a teammate. A guy that every young soccer player can learn from, the way he trains, the way he acts, and the way he performs.
I've heard a lot of stories about his soccer brain. Like, there's a story that in one of his first ever MLS starts down in Orlando, his man scored on a set piece, and he ran over, I think it was to Jesse Marsh at the time, right after, and Jesse goes, "It's okay," and he goes, "Yeah, I don't care. I think that our formation's wrong, and we're losing the midfield battle." And it's like, you just basically made a mistake to give up a goal in one of your first games, but you're talking about the big picture.
Yeah, he
immediately
really believed in himself from day one, and he's a confident guy. He knows what he's doing. He believes in his ability, and he's got tremendous abilities as a soccer player.
That ball dies right there at the feet of Castanera, but he's able to recover and get it out. Now ball over the top. Conway can't bring it down. On the flip side, for a guy not like Tyler Adams, who, let's say like Andrew Carlton, where it maybe has stalled a little bit, but you're still talented, 19 years old, what would you advise to a coach or to that player themselves to maybe get things going in the right direction again?
For Carlton?
Yeah, or a guy like that.
Guys like Carlton, for me, are difficult. I was almost a guy like him in terms of he's technically gifted. You don't really know what position he fits in best. And sometimes players like that can be frustrating because he can be a world beater in some games if things click and go his way and he gets time and space. And in other games, I think players like him can be frustrating because if they're not getting the touches and they're not getting the ball in the correct spots, they don't really add too much else. So players like that need to be nurtured and managed the right way for sure. I think they're mentally very delicate, and because they're such creative, smart, technical players, you really need to keep an eye on them and try to get them to be as effective as possible.
You were at a big club in Leeds that spends money to bring in attacking players ahead of you, and you see that.
Oh, yeah.
What was there ever a moment where you're thinking this isn't going to happen, or how do you continue to fight along and try and earn playing time?
It's difficult, but you need to believe in yourself, and you need to continue to work every single day, and you need to understand as a young guy that the world doesn't start and end at Leeds United or any club, really. I played for over 10 clubs in my career, and so you move around a lot, so you need to invest time and belief in yourself. And, of course, every single day at Leeds, they've got so much money, and they brought in so many different players, and you start to get frustrated, and it's difficult to get into the team, no matter how well you do sometimes. But you need to keep your head down and continue to work and just believe in yourself, believe that it will happen, because it will.
Andrew Carlton, his first year in the program, Atlanta United 2 did not exist, made one appearance in Major League Soccer, his only appearance of the year, but because of Atlanta United 2, he's been able to get more minutes since then. Last year in 2018, 2 starts and 6 appearances in MLS, but 13 starts and 14 appearances in USL Championship, and this year his 8th start in USL. Buckmaster with space now down the line, serves it in, and it's tapped in. The 4th goal of the first half. Jared Stroud gets his 2nd. New York Red Bulls 2 taking care of business.
Yeah, they're flying. They're flying today. They're doing all the right things, and they're making it look really easy.
A little too easy for Stephen Glass and this Atlanta United 2 maybe coaching staff. Buckmaster getting space down that right side. And Mike just time to pick his head up, find a teammate, and makes it easy for Stroud.
Yeah, they've got to be enjoying. The Red Bull 2 players got to be enjoying this. I mean, picking the ball up, taking a touch, looking up. You're in the box, and no one's really closing you down. They've got to enjoy it because it won't happen often. And yeah, but still, you need to have composure, and you need to have the right weighted pass, and you still got to finish it. So credit to them. It was a good goal.
And the opposite of what you'd expect for Atlanta United too. One of the best defensive groups in USL Championship have struggled to score goals. Not the game you'd think would be 4-0 heading towards halftime, but New York Red Bulls 2 have thrown Atlanta United 2 off their game, and right now they smell blood in the water, and Sean Neal is flying forward once again, helping counter press.
And if I'm the coach of Atlanta United or Atlanta United 2, I'm really looking at this game now to see which guys are still committed and which guys are going to fight and which guys are committed to becoming better no matter what the result is, and which guys have the right attitude about it. So this is a really important period to continue to play well and understand the platform and the opportunity that you've been given here today.
Yeah, a lot of times you hear coaches saying you can learn more from losses than you do in victories.
Yeah, certainly, and this is a difficult day for them now because they're down 4-0. It's the first half, like we said earlier. You know, the heat and away from home, and how do you mentally get your mind around this to keep pushing? It's difficult.
Forward. Epps flying forward, losing possession. So we're going to learn a lot about these two teams coming up here over these next few minutes. For Atlanta United 2, they will be keyed in, especially on some of these young stars. Carlton checks his shoulder and flies forward. Trying to get into the path of Conway, intercepted by Kilwine. Now Tolkien back the other way. Clips that one over the top. It's too long for Lima, and Campbell closes it down. You can see why Atlanta United 2 and Atlanta United is so excited about George Campbell as a player. As Stroud's ball is knocked away, Dacus clears it. But for George Campbell, you see he's two-footed, comfortable on the ball, the size to play center back, seems to read the game fairly well as well.
Yeah, no, he's done okay considering the scoreline, but he's been left to dry on a few occasions. But yeah, it's difficult to talk good about a defender when they're 4-0 down in the first half.
Not an ideal situation, but George Campbell, a long professional career ahead of him, was committed to go to Wake Forest as well. Instead signed the professional deal. Tolkien, as we said, committed to Wake Forest. Played good soccer at Wake Forest, not like some of the other ACC schools, like, you know, down in North Carolina and stuff like that. Shot here from Epps goes over.
Well, that's the thing about Epps there, is that final product you'd like to see a little better. I mean, in the first attempt he had, he crushes the crossbar, and it was the right technique and the right situation. But this one here, he just gets a little sloppy in front of goal. But certainly, yeah, I played against Wake Forest a few times myself, and they play very good football. Always a tough team to play against. Of course, when I was at Duke, we beat them a lot.
Just going to sneak that one in. That one rolls out right after we compliment George Campbell.
Yeah,
so
curse the commentator.
it'll be a corner kick now coming. Wake Forest has produced a lot of players who have moved into the professional ranks. Currently one at Leeds United in Jack Harrison. There you go. And we tied it all back around right at the end
Jack
of the first
Harrison's
half.
a Wake Forest guy?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Won the MAC Trophy Award in his one freshman year.
Really good player. And Luis Argudo from Columbus Crew.
Mm-hmm.
I played with him last year. Wake Forest guy. Really technical, quick guy. Good player.
It's a running theme here with these Wake Forest guys. Knocked back here. And Atlanta United, too. It's going to be a long road here in the second half. But New York Red Bulls 2 trailed 3-1 Wednesday. And they were able to come back and win 4-3. In this game, especially with this heat and the way some of these young players can turn on and off, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, certainly. 3-1 down away from home in a tough place, Red Bull 2 was, and they come back and win the game 4-3. I think they scored their first goal in the 76th minute, and they scored the third of that comeback in the 88th. So it can happen. I mean, and we saw so many goals here in the span of only
4 minutes.
Yeah, 4 minutes at one point, so it can certainly happen.
Kofi can't find a teammate there. Jean-Christophe Kofi coming back from an injury, able to return to the lineup here today. Tolkien lines this one up, and his shot not able to get around it. It'll go out for a goal kick. You can see everything New York Red Bulls likes about this young player in Tolkien. The confidence and composure to step up to this USL championship level, and the technical quality to clearly play at a high level.
Oh, no question about it. He fits right in. And I'll go as far to say as a lot of these guys at Red Bull 2 will fit right into the MLS team as well.
We've already seen Sean Nealis here get a handful of starts in MLS. Tom Barlow started the year scoring goals in USL, moving up and playing in Major League Soccer behind Brian White, a former New York Red Bull 2 mainstay. Of course, the success stories of Aaron Long, Florian Vallot, Tyler Adams, Vincent Bezecourt. Been a big part of New York Red Bulls over the last few years. The players that John Wolyniec and his staff with Ibrahim Sakaya have been able to produce. Tolkien there as Carlton slips and the fans enjoy it. Clipped back from Stroud, intercepted by Wyke. And now Wyke will try and earn the throw-in, gets it up to the feet of Carlton. And it looks like that ball may have gone over the end line.
Yeah, it's been sloppy from them for sure. Atlanta United 2 have been very sloppy. They had a good start to the game. The game had a little bit of pop to it, but it's certainly gotten away from them now.
We enter a minimum of 2 minutes of stoppage time thanks to the 4 goals for New York Red Bulls 2. This one served in by Lima. Headed away at the far post, and a foul against New York Red Bulls 2. The opening goal in the 19th minute from Chris Lima, his second of the year, assisted by Jared Stroud. Stroud scored 2 minutes later himself, originally set up by Marcus Epps, but off the deflection, he loses his assist. Then Sean Nealis, the third goal, the second assist and the second ever pro appearance for John Tolkien on that one, and then Stroud, his second goal of the day. Lots of twos across the board, but lots of stats when you put up, at this point now, 8 goals in a game and a half of soccer over this week. And when you think about for New York Red Bulls too, man up for over 70 minutes against Ottawa, could only score 1 goal, and now they've rebounded with 8 goals in the next 2 games.
Yeah, soccer can be such a funny game.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's harder to play against less men, but they certainly have gotten their kinks out, and they've scored X amount of goals in X amount of time. It's pretty impressive.
The last thing you want to see in a game like this for New York Red Bulls too. Chris Lima there holding his left ankle off the back of that tackle from Claggett.
You know, what I also see here is that they're up 4. They're Red Bull 2 are up 4-0, and you haven't seen them really. Usually, everyone wants to get a goal and everyone wants to get an assist, and now people start taking liberties. But you haven't seen that. They've stuck to their roles and responsibilities, and they've been very professional about this.
What stood out to you the most in this first half on the field?
I think just the mentality and the mentality and the attitude of the Red Bull 2 players to continue to press. I mean, it's really hot down there on the field, and they've made it look like it's 60 degrees out there. They've been fantastic mentality-wise. They've pressed. They've been very clean in front of the goal for the most part.
If you like goals, you are in the right place. New York Red Bulls 2, the 3rd highest scoring team in the USL Championship. 8 goals over the course of their last 1.5 soccer games, and they've still got 45 more minutes to go. Atlanta United, too, when they've been in possession, they've looked dangerous, so we would be shocked if it ended this way after these 90 minutes. We've got your halftime coming up in just a second. A look around the league, first half highlights and second half action, all here on ESPN+.
With MSG Go, the game goes where you go. So you can watch live Red Bulls games anywhere you want. It's free and easy because if you get MSG, you get MSG Go. Watch your favorite team wherever you are with MSG Go, presented by Lexus. Download it for free where you get your apps.
MSU Soccer Park, a hot and sunny July afternoon. Perfect for soccer, and what a perfect afternoon so far it's been for the home side. New York Red Bulls 2, off and running, leading 4-0 in this one. We highlighted a couple of players before this game, and Andrew Carleton going to get his career back on track, still just 19 years old. You've seen the quality all game when the ball's at his feet, the ability to beat defenders, to find his teammates. You see clips this ball through for Brandon Claggett here, has tried to set up Jackson Conway one or two times as well in this game. Carleton has shown you a lot of why he's so highly regarded, but still that final product Atlanta United 2 is looking for, and they will need a lot of it in the second half. And on the flip side, John Tolkien, just his first career professional soccer start. He got an assist off the bench at center mid last week at Bethlehem, and today starting at left back. He's got his second assist of his pro career, lines this one up for Sean Nealis. And as this Red Bull coaching staff has said, technical, strong, a brave young player. And John Tolkien has shown all of that so far in this one. A bright young star for New York Red Bulls too. A current star for New York Red Bulls too, Marcus Epps, one of the leaders in appearances this year out of Jackson, Mississippi, what's becoming a bit of a soccer hotbed, went to college at the University of South Florida, drafted by the Philadelphia Union, spent the bulk of his time with Bethlehem Steel FC in his first year with New York Red Bulls, made his MLS debut for New York Red Bulls against Columbus early in the season. He's now appeared in 30 matches in the USL and 35 in Major League Soccer. Epps has set up 2 of the goals already here today. New York Red Bulls 2, 3 goals in a span of 4 minutes. 4 in the first half. What more do we have for you? We've got all your action coming up here on ESPN+.
Little cut in. Here's a terrific blasted back in, and it's a goal for North Carolina FC. What a rip from Connor Presley as Ben Spees lets one fly and drills it. Slides out the way and in.
The boys in purple have dominated.
Ownby charging on, curling across. That's excellent from Hoffenau. His first goal in Louisville College. What a finish for Louisville. They lead. Cicerone again hitting the cross with pace. Greg
statistically kept unless you're keeping a track on mileage. Does a lot off the ball to draw space for his teammates.
Collier weaving his way through. Elliott Collier for the hat trick. There it is! Elliott Collier.
It's a great opportunity again here for the Hounds.
He goes for goal. Oh, what a shot!
What a goal! And when the emotion starts to flow, everyone starts to settle in. Then you can push forward and press the ball.
Rios! Off the post and in! What a missile that is! Goal number 11 of the year in Rios with a phenomenal finish.
Jamison can give it a go from there if he wants. Jamison is it back to Billy Forbes. Billy, right foot. Billy puts it in the back of the net.
What a week it's been in USL Championship, and a great day of action coming up. You take a look at the standings for New York Red Bulls too. If they can hang on to this 4-0 lead, they will move into second place. But Indy 11, those 2 games in hand on Tampa Bay and New York Red Bulls too. So much to play for. Of course, North Carolina FC coming up on your USL Championship game of the week on Wednesday night. And then the Tampa Bay Rowdies are headed to MSU Soccer Park in about 2 weeks. So come on out to check that one out. Everything to play for. Let's take a look around the league now. Action over the course of last night and today. The Hartford Athletic, as we said, opening up Dillon Stadium, undergoing a $14 million renovation in the last year for the new home of the Connecticut Soccer Club, and they are locked in with Indy 11 0-0, Martin Rennie's side, playing some fantastic soccer. And you look around the league, some huge games coming up later today. I mentioned St. Louis FC, one of 2 USL Championship quarterfinalists. They face off against the Charlotte Independents. And Bob Lilly's side, the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, they do what they do. They start slow with games in hand and continue to lead and move up the standings. St. Louis FC there with that 2-0 loss to Atlanta United. New Mexico United, they took a 1-0 lead on the road against MLS opposition Minnesota United for the 3rd straight round. They ended up losing that one 6-1. Darwin Quintero, Angelo Rodriguez going off in that one, but what a run it's been for those 2 clubs. It's been fun to watch, and Douglas Martinez, his record-setting hat trick last night as Salt Lake City's squad, Real Monarchs at home, knocked off the Tacoma Defiance 5-0. Hartford Athletic open up their new stadium here today. It is going to be fantastic to watch that soccer culture slowly start to build and become something special in the USL Championship. Look at stats in this first half. Well, really only one that matters is 4-0 on the score line, but 12-2 New York Red Bulls 2 out shooting this Atlanta United 2 squad. You see the possession numbers fairly close, but New York Red Bulls 2, through their press, through their attack, have been able to create danger at times without much possession against this Atlanta United 2 squad. It'll be interesting to see how these 2 teams play it now over the next 45 minutes. Still a ton of danger in the attack for Atlanta United 2. You gotta think there are goals brewing coming up in this one for the away side. For New York Red Bulls 2, 3 goals in 4 minutes, the fastest in their club's history. They had scored 3 goals in 6 minutes early on in this club's short career, but this now the record. 4 goals in the first half, 3 between the 19th and 23rd minute, and New York Red Bulls 2 are off and flying here at MSU Soccer Park. We've got your second half coming up here in just a moment on ESPN+.
Lima gets it back. He will take a strike.
Played in. Laurel gets a hand to it.
Denied by Laurel from point blank.
He's standing on his head right now.
Marcus Epps finds some space.
Barlow putting it in, back of the net. No slowing down, number 74. New York puts the exclamation point on this one tonight.
With MSG Go, the game goes where you go. So you can watch live Red Bulls games anywhere you want. It's free and easy because if you get MSG, you get MSG Go. Watch your favorite team wherever you are with MSG Go, presented by Lexus. Download it for free where you get your apps.
The New York Derby coming up tomorrow in MLS action. Atlanta United facing Seattle Sounders in MLS play as well, but it's all about USL Championship here on Saturday. And right now, New York Red Bulls, too, have the upper hand, a 4-0 lead. David Goss and Mike Grella with you on ESPN+. And, Mike, it was a good back-and-forth start to this game, but here in the 19th minute, lazy defending. Jared Stroud gets open. He finds Chris Lima for his second goal of the year, and then New York just explodes over the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's just there's too much space. I mean, you can see there in the box. You never see that much space in the box, and guys just sort of not being closed down, but really good finish there.
Marcus Epps flowing from the right to the left side helps set this one up. Jared Stroud ends up with the unassisted goal, his 8th of the year.
Yeah, good cross with his weak foot. Good solid strike, and then gets to pass it in from 7 yards.
So Jared Stroud now, this is first goal of this game, scored late for the winner against Bethlehem Steel last week. And then John Tolkien, 2 professional soccer appearances in his life, 2 assists.
Yeah, he has so much quality. He just picked Nealis out there and put it right on top of the big center back's head. And from there, he was never going to miss.
Came off the bench at center mid against Bethlehem on Wednesday night, starting at left back here today. Just 17 years old, young John Tolkien sets up the big man from Massapequa, and he gets the goal. And then late in the first half, Reese Buckmaster with the assist, and Stroud gets his second.
Yeah, we're talking about that. There's too much space in the box. But look, you still got to pick this pass out. You still have to be composed, and it's still a good finish.
Jared Stroud, 9 goals and 7 assists so far on the year. When you look at what Tom Barlow's done and the opportunity he's earned to play more minutes for the Major League Soccer side, you got to think Jared Stroud's right behind him. You look at the schedule coming up for New York. They head on the road against Memphis. Then that massive match here on Friday night at MSU Soccer Park against the Tampa Bay Rowdies, followed up against St. Louis FC. They head New York Red Bulls to Dillon Stadium for the first time on August 10th. And on the flip side, for Atlanta United, too, a game rained out last week against the Charleston Battery, so they're going to come thick and heavy over the next 2 months for this squad at Birmingham midweek against Charlotte, and then another weekend midweek double with North Carolina and Loudoun United. That Charleston match rescheduled for September. So that one coming up for Atlanta United, too, against a team they are closely associated to. 2 substitutions made here at halftime. No surprise, maybe, for Scott Glass's side. And it looks like coming on, making his professional debut as a 16-year-old in central midfield in William Riley. Backup goalkeeper as well, Paul Christensen, in his second year with Atlanta United, coming on the field.
Yeah, Christensen, 16 years old. I mean, those are the things you'd see in other countries. You'd see that in England and in Europe. You'd see really young guys getting opportunities on these platforms, and now you're starting to see it in the United States. Oh, sorry. Riley William.
Will Riley.
Will Riley, sorry. So
I'm Red Bulls too right now. You're Atlanta United too.
But, my point is that, young guys, 16 years old, getting opportunities on these platforms is awesome. It's a sign of soccer growing in this country.
If your name wasn't Freddie Adu, that wasn't something that was happening 10 years ago.
Absolutely
in
not.
U.S., Canada soccer circles. Now you look across the landscape and you've got young players left to right across these 2 countries playing the game. Will Riley making his pro debut along with Brandon Claggett here, both out of the Atlanta United Academy. Will Riley, part of the original first class of Atlanta United on the ball here. Gets closed down quickly, and the shot taken and easily saved in the end by Nuhu.
I think that's Kofi. Looks like he's struggling a bit. Pretty tough challenge in the air. Good to see him get back up there. You see here he rises and just, I think, lands a little bit awkwardly.
So I was incorrect on one of those substitutions. It was Kevin Barajas, the other sub to come on there. You see number 8 who took that shot. So he's playing alongside William Riley in midfield. Those two coming in, they will join Lawrence Wyke in that central midfield. So Chris Goslin, just 45 minutes for the young player. He is one of the big up-and-coming names. 4 starts in the U17 World Cup for the United States in their run to the quarterfinals in India. And that's never what you want to see for a young player, to get taken off early in a game.
Yeah, you never know how to affect his confidence, and especially the result of the first half. It's going to be a tough day for him, but really, really good way to learn.
Epps has it tackled away.
Yeah, and you speak about Jared Stroud and just the competition, the overall competition that exists in the Red Bull organization is fantastic. I mean, that's what you want when you build a club and when you dream about a really good club, is competition for spots, because it raises the level of energy, it raises the level of the performances, and it certainly is going to point in the direction of getting results. So that's what you want, is extreme competition. You don't really see that in the Atlanta United 2 squad.
Lima puts this one, it bounces in the box. And one of the interesting things about this group, as Reese Buckmaster comes flying back and he earns the foul, sitting right next to us right now is Preston Burpo, the goalkeeper coach for the MLS side for the Red Bull. CJ Miles as well, assistant coach for Chris Armas. These players are part of their group. It's not 2 separate groups. They're looking at this entire player pool from the first team all the way through the U17 groups to see who are the best players, and that's how you earn time. And it seems like for young players in New York, they have belief that they can make that jump.
Yeah, and they certainly can. They've seen guys do it before them, and the coherence and the organization of the academy and what it looks like, and how similar it is to the to Red Bull United's first team squad is unbelievable. I mean, this is the sort of the way to do it. It's the footprint to follow, or the blueprint to follow, and you can see the results. Any one of these players at Red Bull 2 team can be put into the MLS team, and you would not see a difference.
And that's how we've seen a lot of players like Brian White and Christian Casares break through as injuries, match congestion, and they're just given an opportunity or run out because there is belief they can step in. And guys like Brian White have earned more time after that. Florian Velo before that. Aaron Long, of course, found his feet really because of CCL and match congestion for New York Red Bulls. And now he's a USMNT starter, captain at times as well. Jorgensen in on goal. It's saved. The follow-up, and it's put in for New York Red Bulls too. Chris Lima has his second goal of the day.
Second goal of the day, third goal of the season. Is that correct? Yeah.
This one's all about stats here, Mike, as every player now starting to get their opportunity. And the first goal of the second half goes to Chris Lima.
Yeah, really good ball in behind. Creates a lot of confusion. Goalkeeper makes a pretty good save for Atlanta. Good finish. I mean, doesn't have a lot of time or space there, but it is a wide open net. But it's still a goal. You hate to see the game get away from one of the teams because it makes for a slower, a little bit more boring game. But it's been good. There's been a bit of pop, and you hate to see it be so one-sided, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Well, Chris Lima gets his second goal of the day. Carlton here with a little bit of space flying forward. He's got more options in the attack now after the substitution with Parajas in. The slide tackle made by Nealis.
Good tackle from Nealis there. Good interception.
Have you played in games where you've been down by a sizable amount?
I have played in a few games. When I was playing in Denmark, played against Aalborg. I think that's the correct pronunciation. And I could swear to you, we didn't touch the ball for really long periods of time, and we lost by a sizable margin. I don't even exactly remember what it was, but it was really defeating for me and an eye-opener.
And what was the experience like on the field? Are you talking with your teammates, trying to make it better? Or once it gets so overwhelming, everyone kind of just slumps shoulders and does their own thing?
Yeah, it's really hard not to do that. And it's really hard not to lose your temper, especially for me. So I couldn't say that I was being a good teammate that day. But unbelievable to see the level of what those guys were playing at. When they just knew when to pass, when to turn, when to do all the right things, and the efficiency of which they played at made it so difficult for us.
Dangerous turnover there for Atlanta United 2 off the foot of Campbell. Claggett comes back, and he's able to recover it. Atlanta United 2 right now, sitting towards the bottom of the Eastern Conference in the USL Championship. Doesn't look like it's going to get much better for them today. Beautiful through ball here for Conway. Nudged off it by Kilwine.
I think you can see in this game as well, Red Bull 2 are just more physical. They look sharper, they look faster, and they look stronger than Atlanta United 2.
In fairness, on average, New York Red Bulls 2 are older than these Atlanta United 2 teams. About a 3-year difference for a lot of players, from guys like Kofi who are college graduates to players like Will Riley at 16 and Chris Goslin at 18.
Yeah, I think you could see that.
So a substitution here. It'll be interesting to see what New York does now as Janos Luba comes on the field. Luba, number 10 in college, has played left back for New York Red Bulls. He comes on for Kyle Zayats. And it looks like the move will be Luba to left attacker, Jared Stroud sliding infield and pushing Chris Lima a little deeper alongside Kofi. Janos Luba, a good, bright start for him out of Fordham University, has already had 3 assists from that left back position.
Yeah, Luba is a guy who, in my opinion, keeps it fairly simple. He's an efficient player. Seems to be a really good teammate and a smart player. So he's always fun to watch.
Riley on the ball. Swings it wide. Benitez can't get clean contact on it, and Buckmaster recovers the ball. And now Atlanta United 2 trying to launch their press a little bit higher. Nuhu put under pressure. Finds the feet of Epps. His touch just a little too long. Mike, we spoke with Preston Burpo, the goalkeeper coach at halftime, and that was the key for Rashid Nuhu was, one, more experience, but the little moments, especially with the ball at his feet, where he needs to still improve.
Yeah, he said his best attribute was shot stopping. He said in training sometimes he's unplayable. You can't score against him.
Epps here back on the ball. 1v1 with Dakis. Back into the feet of Lima. Switches the point of attack for Luba. Janos Luba has the run of Tolkien outside of him. Tolkien trying to get possession. Penalty kick coming for New York Red Bulls 2.
When you play at this level, there's no mercy. They're trying. Red Bull 2 team wants to get goals, and they want to continue to beat them, and they want to continue to work on what they're working on. So credit to them. They're still running in behind and creating dangerous situations like you see here in this situation with the penalty.
So a fascinating conversation just occurred as John Tolkien draws this PK. Jared Stroud sitting on a hat trick. Marcus Epps has taken this penalty kick. He came over and said something. Stroud, it looks like nodded, not super happy about it. But Marcus Epps, as we've said, played well, hasn't gotten the stats. It'll be him to step up to this penalty kick against the Atlanta United 2 goalkeeper in Dylan Castanera. Epps steps up, and he puts it into the back of the net. His 4th goal of the season, the second here of this second half.
I'm not sure about that run-up. That was an interesting run-up. I don't think I've seen that one before. But in the end, he slots it.
You don't have to give that to Jared Stroud, sitting on a hat trick?
I'm not sure. I'm not too sure exactly what that conversation was about. That's an interesting run-up. I haven't seen that one before.
So Epps pretending to take it with his left, comes back to his right foot, and then puts it in. Marcus Epps has not scored a goal in over 3 months of USL Championship action. And he gets the goal here off the penalty spot. 6-0 lead right now for New York Red Bulls, too. And no matter how this game ends, even if Atlanta United somehow comes back, this is a scoreline that will definitely raise eyebrows across the league. That shot flashed over the top from Benitez. I don't know. Very rare in a career you get to score a hat trick.
That's true, but on the flip side of that, you want a guy like Marcus who's been playing well to get on the board and get some confidence. Sometimes a penalty can do that and get a guy sparked up and get him a goal, and he could get him going and could open up the floodgates for him. Hopefully that's what we see. But yeah, you're right. Stroud could have had a pretty easy hat trick there.
The dynamics of soccer teams, when who takes penalties when, who's on the field. Sometimes you see late in the season a guy sitting on 9 goals, and he'll get the penalty when he doesn't normally take them, and you're thinking, something in his contract. He's trying to trigger that extra couple thousand there and get that extra goal.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the coolest things I've ever seen was when Bradley Wright Phillips broke the goal record without scoring 1 penalty, I think it was that year. And I remember playing in the last game, and he didn't want to take the penalties because he wanted to have all his goals be I guess you would say legitimate, or in the run of play, in the run of open play. And that was really cool to see because you see a lot of guys that really beef up their stats with penalties. Sometimes you see a guy who scores 10 goals and 7 of them are penalties in the course of a season.
A yellow card coming here. Lawrence Wyke frustrated, and he earns the 2nd yellow card of the game for Atlanta United too. Do you think there should be a separate category in Golden Boot for penalty kicks, or are they all goals?
I absolutely think there should be a different category for it. Coming from a guy that I didn't really get to take the penalties, I think for sure. Because like I said, you get these guys who beef up their stats with penalties, and you still got to finish it. They're not easy, and especially nowadays, goalkeepers are learning new techniques to be really effective on penalty kicks. Although I have seen now that they are getting more strict on goalkeepers staying on the line. We saw for a few years now, the last 5 years or so, goalkeepers jumping 2 or 3 feet off their line before the penalty, and that really does close the space in the angle.
Hey, you're an Italy fan. Gigi Buffon does not stay on his line.
He does not stay on his line, and in my opinion, I don't know if he's the best at saving penalties.
Right.
I remember in the World Cup when they won, he dove the wrong way every single time. And that was frustrating to watch.
So Matthias Jorgensen's day is done. You're trailing 6-0 for Atlanta United 2. And Tom Barlow, the leading goal scorer on the team, is the guy coming off the bench. He is 4th right now in the USL Championship in the Golden Boot race, tied for 4th. He has only played 9 games in USL play. The leader, Asante, has 15 appearances. Everyone else around him has at least 14 starts. And Tom Barlow has only started 6 games. This now his 10th appearance in USL, and he has 10 goals in those games.
Yeah, if you're George Campbell and Wesley Dacas, that's not who you want to see come on the field right now in a pretty humiliating defeat so far. Still plenty of time to go, and Tom is thinking about getting some goals. So,
Fins, the USL unveiled its elite youth platform, USL Academy. This allows clubs at all levels across the USL to develop its local youth and compete at the highest level across the United States, including the USL Academy Cup. For more information, visit uslsoccer.com/academy. These 2 academies, some of the best in the country in just a short time for Atlanta United 2, or Atlanta United, and for New York Red Bulls. They have long been the class when you think of Juan Agudelo and Matt Miazga, and now, of course, this next generation with Tyler Adams and John Tolkien, maybe the next piece of this for New York Red Bulls. When you look at the Red Bull system and the way it plays, it seems like Tom Barlow could be a perfect fit at that forward position. A little more size than what New York's had in the past with, of course, Bradley Wright Phillips. But when you saw when Anatola Bong was on the team, the added threat he brought. But Barlow has the speed, the work rate, the ideas to help the press system as well as Barlow steps over this one for Epps, and Epps can't complete it, and the offside flag goes up.
Yeah, in my personal opinion, I always like to see I guess you would say your number 9, your main striker, especially if you're playing with one striker, be a big guy that brings a presence. Obviously, with guys like Bradley Wright Phillips, he's like one of a kind. He's just a special guy who can score goals and who's clever, and he just knows things and does things that can't be taught. But when you see guys like Tom in the front, he really adds a presence, and he really worries center backs. His hold-up play is really effective. So when I think of a number 9, I always tend to think of a big striker who can hold the ball and be sort of a menace in the box. And it's very effective.
So it looks like it's John Tolkien holding his lower back, going over to the sideline there. And we'll see what the plan is for New York Red Bulls, too. Coming forward, they do have Janos Luba on the field, who is a left back for them. So they have some flexibility of how they'd want to make some changes. 2 subs already made. Edgardo Rito, a natural right back, on the bench. Jordan Scarlett, normally a starter at center back, on the bench in option. Sebastian Elney, as well as Amarillo de Sousa. So a few options, a few different ways Coach Wolenek can go here, leading 6-0 at MSU Soccer Park. Tom Barlow puts the pressure on. Beautiful footwork there from Castanera, and then he floats it out left towards Benitez. Good feet there from Barajas. Barajas, an Atlanta native out of University of Kentucky. Barajas, dangerous pass. He hands it to Lima, and a hat trick. Chris Lima. 2 goals on the season, and now 3 goals in one game here at MSU Soccer Park.
Yeah, it's just the cherry on top of a really bad day. It's just really bad pass, and if you're Lima there, you've got to be thinking this is the easiest goal you'll ever score in your career.
And for Barajas, even if he hits that clean, you've got Stroud pressuring Campbell on the other side. It's a dangerous pass with your goalkeeper out across the box, and he was not able to hit it clean, and it was a gift for Chris Lima. And out of nowhere, we're talking about Jared Stroud sitting on a hat trick. Chris Lima gets one here. Still only the 64th minute, a 7-0 lead for New York Red Bulls 2.
And I feel for Bras a little bit because they're down 6-0, and he's trying to get the game going, and he's trying to get touches, and he's trying to play, which is Atlanta United's identity. And so he has the right intentions there. Just gets caught up in that Red Bull press and gives away a really sort of, for him, I'm sure, embarrassing goal.
And it might be worse in just a moment. Barlow, a long touch. Castanero comes out, and he makes the save. It looked like the golden man up top was in for his next goal.
Yeah, that was interesting to me. And I don't think Tom well, apart from the last game, he scores 2 goals and gets an assist, but that was very sloppy and out of character from Tom. And he takes a long touch. The goalkeeper, I think, could have probably come and
jumped
got.
On that
then he doesn't get it, so he gets a second chance at it, and then takes a kind of a short touch, the opposite of what he needed, and the goalkeeper saved it. So sloppy from him, from Tom.
Chance here for Conway the other way, and 1 back for Atlanta United 2.
Here they come.
The young man, Jackson Conway, out of the Atlanta United Academy, gets that one to get his team a little bit of respect here. And Jackson Conway's 2nd goal here of the year.
Yeah, the Red Bull United 2 defense just left wide open there. And they sort of take a page out of Atlanta United's 2 defending there and just leave them wide open. And it's still a very good finish.
Jackson Conway, still just 17 years old, on that Atlanta United 2 squad. And he gets them a little bit of respect here. Conway handled that one exactly how you'd want your center forward to handle it. Had basically a goal per game rate at the academy level for Atlanta United. It's been, of course, tougher sledding, playing up now in the USL Championship. Conway an Atlanta native, but was born in Leeds, England.
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
There you go.
Leeds is a great place. If you haven't been,
I have never been.
If you haven't been, it's a really fantastic place, and the best part about it is the people that live there. They're hardworking people, and they love their soccer, and they love who they are, and they're very, very proud people. So they always make you feel at home there, and it's a really good place to watch good soccer, and the city's fantastic. It's really good restaurants and good places to go. So Leeds is a awesome little place, one of my favorite places.
And now they've got Bielsa to add on top of all of that.
Yeah, and last season I had the pleasure of playing with Federico Higuain and Gaston Sauro, 2 Argentinian guys, and they love Bielsa and they love those guys, and they told me all about them. So I'm well educated now on all the Argentinian legends.
And they almost went through to the Premier League in his first year, but now he's got a second year to build it back up.
So crazy how they did
Heartbreaking.
it. So crazy and heartbreaking how they did it, and I know the passion of the fans there and what they feel. So I can only imagine how difficult it was for that city to not go through, and especially they get the result away from home in the playoffs.
And you went up then in the second leg at home.
Yeah.
And then it all fell apart right at the end of the first
Derby
half.
County ended up beating them and actually going on to lose in the final, but really surprised that Leeds didn't get through the Premiership. I thought this would be the year for them.
So Laurent Kissidou will come on here, substitute on for Brandon Claggett, who made his professional debut here today. Claggett going off, it looks like, with a little bit of a knock, and not an easy day to make your pro debut at right back in a game that you lose 7-1, but you got to think it can only go up from here.
Yeah, it's not one I'd want to play in. Certainly not. I mean, that's just the truth. But it still is an opportunity for you to get your fitness in, get your touches in, and maybe prove something to your coach.
Kissidou coming on, a good young player, one of the best chance creators on this team for Atlanta United. 3 assists this year, 4 goals last year for Atlanta United too. Originally out of Divo, Cote d'Ivoire, but raised in the Atlanta area. One of the young players coming through this academy that Atlanta is very excited about. John Tolkien has lived up to the excitement and expectations here today for New York Red Bulls. And it'll be interesting to see for him as the tests now change when you look at a Memphis squad of players like Mark Birch, who are 30, 32 years old, experienced MLS, USL guys. It's a whole new test rather than playing against young, talented, but up-and-coming players.
Yeah, and what a good experience to play against such a different group of players, and players that are older and more experienced, and then you get the young guys who can run all day and they're physical and strong. These are all great experiences to be a part of as you build your own sort of war chest or experiences to become a better soccer player.
Select is the official ball supplier of the USL Championship and many of the finest leagues in the world since 1947. Select has been the leader in soccer ball quality and innovation. For the latest Select products and special offers, please visit selectsportamerica.com. In the heart of summer now, so make sure to go out and get your balls, because then you can go out and learn to be players like this.
Little kick out.
And this is one of those moments in a game like this, as you said, against Aalborg. There's frustration on one side.
Yeah.
You don't want anything silly to happen between these two teams as guaranteeing the result. But at 7-1, you have to think New York Red Bulls still has a decent shot of coming away with a victory here.
Yeah, if you're Kilwine, you just want to stay out of these situations. You want to make sure you don't get hurt, and you want to definitely stay away from all the extras after the soccer stuff, kicking out and fighting and doing all that sort of stuff, because it's just not worth it, and you're winning the game 7-1. So you see a red card here for Luis Fernando.
So Luis Fernando, he picked up a yellow card in the first half, and he picks up his second yellow card here in the 70th minute. Well, that afternoon is done for the young Brazilian, and a frustrating one for everyone involved.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. It's difficult when you're in these situations to hold your temper and to keep your temper and keep things in line. I mean, you're losing 7-1. You're still regardless of the game or the season or whatever the situation is, you have a lot of pride. Most soccer players and athletes have a lot of pride in what they do, and they take their job very seriously. And this is a bit of a humiliating defeat for them. It's tough to swallow, I'm sure.
And you can see there for Fernando, frustration in the kick at the end at Sean Nealis after he fell over his legs and took him down from behind. And that is what the yellow card is for. Well handled there by John Freeman to try and keep this under control. Now, New York Red Bulls, too, sitting on 7 goals here. That is their club record. The USL Championship record is 9 goals in a game. Man up right now in the 70th minute.
You got to think they'll score again.
You got to think there's probably goals both sides still coming on this one, but for Red Bulls too. Although they did struggle man up against Ottawa last week. Last week they were man up for 70 minutes. They scored 1 goal. Since then, playing even numbers for 2 games, they've scored 11 goals.
Yeah,
it's a fun sport.
I think this game's a little bit of an outlier. 7-1 sort of skews the stats a little bit, and Atlanta's sort of thrown in the towel a little while ago, so it's been difficult. Just to separate from that, something I'd like to see from teams that get pressed by Red Bull or vice versa is, I think when teams sort of pin you in your own area and you're defending a lot and you're bunkered in, you need to have an answer for that. And I'd like to see, sort of what we would call in soccer a third man running. So an accurate pass that goes into a striker, the striker drops it off to a midfielder, and then that midfielder can play essentially what is called the third man running. So you have a sort of a counter-attacking weapon. We haven't seen that from Atlanta today. So you see Red Bull 2 have pinned them in their own end, and you don't see an answer for them. They sort of just play the ball forward and get it taken away, or they lose the ball with sloppy passes. But you'd like to see them play it into a striker, drop it off, and then get that third man running so that if Red Bull 2 want to press you and push you into your own end, you sort of can hurt them on a counterattack. You don't see enough accurate, dangerous counterattacking plays from Atlanta United 2, which is a little bit strange because Atlanta United are very dangerous on the counterattack.
Especially when Miguel Almiron was with them last year, as now New York Red Bulls 2 looking to make it even more. The flag stays down. It's alive here for Epps. Epps now gets to the end line, clips one to the far post, touched by Castanera, and now cleared by Wyke, but only as far as Tolkien. Stroud trying to get past Riley there, and Riley wins the ball cleanly. So still a little bit of bite in this game between these two teams. So when you're talking about, you're saying, let's say Conway's the center forward.
Yeah.
Andrew Carlton coming underneath would be that third runner.
No, so if Conway was the forward, the ball would go into Conway. Conway would lay it off to Carlton, and then Carlton would, let's say in a perfect world, one-touch pass it to a third man running through.
The opposite winger or the number 10, whoever it is.
Exactly. And when you have that sort of danger, or even in some sense, it could be Conway dropping the ball off, spinning, and getting the pass from Carlton and threatening that back line that's a little bit open and a little bit high. I think that's the way you hurt a team that's sort of pinning you in, the team that's very good.
Because so often we see once people break lines, then they want to possess and control play a little bit. As Barlow's in and running here, Castanera once again equal to the Wisconsin alum. He is not in the mood to let Barlow get that one extra goal.
And if you look back at that play, if you're a striker and you're a young kid or you're any soccer player, watch Tom Barlow's run there and watch his positioning. He's on the weak side of the center back there. That's really hard to defend against, and that's the right position. A lot of times as a striker, you get too eager and you want to run and you want to make that run, and you end up running either in front of the defender or you run yourself into the corner away from the goal and essentially outside the 18-yard box. So if you watch Tom there, he stays very central, he stays patient, and he stays on your weak side. That allows him to get chances that are more direct and more within the 18-yard box, and it's a big part of what makes him more dangerous than a lot of strikers.
And one of the things, as you see, preparing right now, Amardillo Jr., the Brazilian on loan from Red Bull Brazil, to come on here. One of the things you hear, especially around Red Bull, with a guy like Bradley Wright Phillips, is the ability to run between the center backs to find those gaps. As Barlow can't get on the end of that one, George Campbell gets there first, puts it out for a corner kick. But that danger in that space where everyone thinks maybe it's someone else's assignment, that's where you find the chances.
Exactly. I mean, on that weak side, and sometimes it seems as if you're running less and you're doing less because you're on the weak side. But Brad does it fantastic. You know, Brad knows when to run across, and he knows when to go on your weak side.
And not the fastest player in the world, but because he's anticipating in that step, he tends to beat players to the ball a lot.
Who's this, Brad?
Mm-hmm.
Brad is so fast.
Is he?
Oh my God, he's so scary fast.
Ball knocked down here by Nealis.
Deceptively fast. It's unbelievable.
I've watched him play soccer for many years. I've seen him win a ton of foot races, but you don't see him as a speedster.
Yeah, I think as he's gotten older, he's more clever about the way he runs and when he runs. But I'll tell you, he has a deceptive quickness about him and a deceptive speed about him. I think it adds to why he's so dangerous. You know, I think defenders think they have him, and then he's gone.
And, of course, build-wise, doesn't look like a sprinter for Bradley Wright Phillips, but has it clearly in his back pocket just in case he needs it.
Absolutely. It's one of his sneaky attributes that he has.
The greatest goal scorer in New York Red Bull history, one of the best goal scorers in Major League Soccer history. Bradley Wright Phillips, a club legend.
I actually was playing over in England when he was over in England for a while as well. And there's a misperception about that he only scored goals in the MLS. I mean, he scored a lot of goals in England as well at a lot of different levels. And he's just a traditional, proper goal scorer. Really dangerous guy in the box.
It comes from one of the greatest goal scorers in Premier League history, and Ian Wright has been passed down. So John Tolkien's afternoon is done as we get our hydration break. Your first time to see him in person, what's your reaction? What will you tell people that ask you what John Tolkien looks like?
I mean, he looks like exactly what John described him as. Well-rounded, intelligent player with a lot of quality with the ball. He can see plays coming. He makes the right pass a lot of the times. The one thing I'd have liked to see today was him be challenged more defensively, because that would be the question mark I have with a guy that's so talented with the ball. Can he defend? Can he tackle? Can he defend? And he really wasn't put under that pressure today. But awesome appearance from him. You see his assist here to Nealis. Really good stuff. Accurate, intelligent player.
So Nealis scores there. That was the third goal in a span of just 4 minutes. The quickest span for 3 goals in New York Red Bull 2 club history. This fourth goal in the end of the first half. Then Lima starts the second half with that tap in. Epps takes this penalty kick, which he talked Stroud and Lima out of, who are both sitting on a hat trick. But then Lima got his gift anyway. This one from Barajas. Lima's able to walk it into the back of the net, and he gets a hat trick. Stroud's got 2 goals. Marcus Epps with the lone goal, as well as Sean Nealis on the flip side. Jackson Conway in the 65th minute. The lone strike so far for Atlanta United 2 in this one. It was 3-1 in Atlanta in favor of New York Red Bulls 2. They have more than doubled it up here in this second matchup, the final time these two teams will see each other in 2019. David Goss and Mike Grella with you here. 86 degrees on the thermometer, but a real feel of over 90 degrees here. And fortunate for the players, as the shade at least gives them a little comfort out on the field.
And 120 in the booth.
Me and Mike Grella probably don't have a ton of juice left in us to make some sprints here in the final 15 minutes, but we'll be happy to watch these young players do it. Probably a fight right now for everyone on Atlanta to play right wing and for everyone on New York to play on the left side, as Reese Buckmaster's just baking out here in the sun.
Yeah, there's got to be at least a 15-degree difference between the two.
Barajas chasing that one. Buckmaster steps in. The Hoosier wins it. And now Epps a chance to go the other way. New York Red Bulls 2 now sitting on 7 goals. Man up after the red card for the second yellow to Luis Fernando. 7 goals. A USL Championship record for New York Red Bulls 2. 9, the all-time record. And it looked like Tom Barlow had a chance to get them there once or twice, but hasn't been able to put one away. I guess if you're going to struggle with finishing, this is the game for New York Red Bulls 2 for him to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, this game is finished. It's been done for a little while now, but there's still plenty of time, and they could get to that record. It wouldn't be crazy. There's 10 minutes left, and they could still get to that 9-goal record. However, the game has slowed down a little bit.
So New York Red Bulls 2 will move into second place. Sitting in fourth right now is North Carolina FC. You can tune in to their game Wednesday night on ESPN3, 7 p.m. North Carolina FC looking to stay in touching distance with the top of the East. They host newcomers Loudoun United as they look in their first season to continue towards the playoff push. 7 p.m. that one, July 17th on ESPN3, your Wednesday night USL Championship game of the week. Barajas dragged down there, so a free kick coming. Do you think these players on the field know anything about all-time goals scored? Did you hear about stuff like that when you were in games?
No, I didn't really know what was. I just wanted to win, and I had I mean, as a soccer player, I think a lot of people that are kind of neutral soccer or don't watch soccer too much. I know from speaking to my dad, who he thinks he's a soccer guy, but he's always like, you know, he doesn't understand. A lot of people don't understand. You go onto the field with so many responsibilities. There's so many things that you worked on during the week, and so many things your coach wants you to do positionally. And mentally, and then set piece wise, and so I didn't have any room to know what the records were or anything.
Thinking
like
about
that.
shutout streaks and who's sitting on a hat trick and stuff like that.
I just think there's not enough room left for all that with all the little responsibilities you have to do.
Epps pushes this one wide. Luba coming forward. A turnover in Kisadu, trying to chase it the other way. Kofi recovers possession. New York Red Bulls, too, their third game in a week. And they will move to 2-0-1 on the week as Nealis can't find Buckmaster. So New York Red Bulls, too, a successful run here. You'd think they'd win the 2 home games and maybe struggle midweek on the road against Bethlehem Steel, but it ended up being the other way around, starting it off with a draw and then following it up with 2 goal-scoring explosions in victories against Bethlehem and Atlanta United, too.
Yeah, 2 things for me. Red Bull 2 were just A, more organized, and B, more committed to today, to the challenge of what today was. And Atlanta United were just second best to everything.
Atlanta United 2 winning the national championship at the USSDA level just last year. Putting together one of the best young groups in the country. It's tough to then learn it at this level as Epps gets that cross away. The offside flag goes up. It took New York Red Bulls, too, at least a year to really find their feet at the USL level. 2015 made the postseason, won a game against the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, but then lost to Rochester in the second round. And then 2016, the double, setting the record for goals scored, one of the best defensive teams, set the record for points, victories, almost everything else, and then won the double with the 5-1 win at Red Bull Arena against Swope Park Rangers. You'd have to say between Swope Park and New York Red Bulls 2, the 2 most successful on the field in USL teams of MLS 2 teams since this has come into existence. And for New York Red Bulls 2.
Yeah, so impressive. Such an impressive group, impressive organization, the way they go about their business, the professionalism, the mentality, and a lot of soccer quality.
Yellow card shown there to Barajas. And then you look at, well, yeah, maybe it's not all about championships. You want to develop players.
Yep.
Aaron Long, MLS Defender of the Year. Tyler Adams, U.S. national team mainstay, will play in Champions League this year and was a full-time starter for Red Bull Leipzig when healthy. Tom Barlow, Brian White, Kyle Duncan. You look at all of these players across. Casares as well will be a starter. Sean Davis started with his professional career as well as Alex Muriel with New York Red Bulls too. That one trying to sneak through. A chance here for New York, and that one flashed over the top. But
yeah, to think you wouldn't have an opportunity was almost crazy. The percentages are unbelievable of the amount of players that are successfully coming out of here and getting into the MLS.
Yep.
It's like I've said so many times, this platform is fantastic. And if
dangerous turnover here. New York gets one more. Chris Lima, 4 goals on the day. New York Red Bulls 2, 1 off the USL Championship record.
I told you, there's plenty of time.
And, of course, the defensive midfielder gets 4 goals. What do you call 4 goals? Not a hat trick?
I have no idea. I've scored 4 goals once ever in my career. I'm not sure what it's called. Another pretty cheap, really, really cheap giveaway.
And a slip there from William Riley, but he was under a ton of pressure. A tough pass from Dylan Castanera to put him under pressure there. And
if you're Tom, I think you want that pass. Because
I was about to say.
If he passes that, I mean, it's a 1,000% goal, right? And if he shoots it, I mean, it's 90%. So you'd like to see him pass it, but
Tom Barlow.
Still good finish and 4 goals today, so he can do whatever he wants today.
He gets to do whatever. Well, the scoring has been plentiful, to say the least, here. And the running of the Bulls this week. Out in Spain, it has been the running of the Bulls here at MSU Soccer Park. New York Red Bulls 2, a club record 8 goals against Atlanta United 2 here on a hot and sunny July afternoon. Currently 1 away from the USL Championship record in a game. Right now, Jackson Conway, the lone strike for Atlanta United 2. It'll be a corner kick to take it. Kisadu will take it. Well, his right-footed service will come in. Don't forget Atlanta United 2 still playing man down here. Luis Fernando, a red card in the 70th minute. At that point, the game was already 7-1. That one's taken short and low. A mistake there off the pass. Carlton able to get it under control for a second. He loses possession. Epps with the through ball now. Stroud trying to chase that one down. He keeps it in. He's got Barlow and Almerdillo running alongside him, looking for the feet of a teammate, can't find it, and well defended in the end by Benitez. Benitez trying to do a little too much, turns it back over.
As you would imagine now, it's just super stretched and unorganized from Atlanta United 2.
Man down, trailing by 7 goals. Not really a great situation to play organized soccer for this Atlanta United 2 squad. And Chris Lima now with 4 goals. That is a USL Championship record for New York Red Bulls 2 in their 4-year history. 4 goals, the best return for a single player. I saw Brandon Allen sit on a couple hat tricks. Junior Fleming's in his day. Derek Etienne Jr. Stroud close to 1 here today. And Barlow 2 goals midweek, but 4 from Lima. He gets another one. And that one saved easily in the end.
Yeah, this game is really slowed down. I think there's still actually another goal in it for Red Bull 2.
I believe after this performance, New York Red Bulls 2 are currently tied for first in the USL Championship on goals scored as a total team. Phoenix Rising coming to this game were first in the league on 45 goals on the year, and Reno 1868. So basically first and second in the West. Buckmaster here looking to tie the record for New York Red Bulls 2. Goes to the near post. Stroud gets it under control. Looks for a teammate, and Barlow's shot is saved. Tom Barlow, in a game when goals are plenty, cannot buy one. And now he gets another chance at it. Epps sets him up, and finally he's through, and the offside flag goes up.
Yeah, there's a little hesitation in the pass. He saw it a little too late. Sneaky run, but he's offsides. And Tom Barlow puts really good contact in that first one. Just a real striker. He gets in, makes his space for himself, gets the ball on target. Unlucky not to score the 9th.
So Tom Barlow first gets the look saved. It was a beautiful save from Castanera, and then maybe Benitez is holding him on there, but...
Yeah, I think he's off there. And it's difficult to hold your run there. You're in a really tight spot where you need to kind of move.
For Barlow in that Golden Boot race, he has 1 goal that was taken away because the game was delayed for weather against Birmingham. So he scored in the opening 15 minutes on the road in that game. The game was then called off. It will be restarted from the beginning. So that goal will not count. It's little things, but when you're looking at a Golden Boot race for a title, for a full league, that's a great honor to get, and a little tough for him.
Yeah, absolutely. It's tough. I mean, it's always hard to score, and then when you do and it gets taken away for whatever reason, I mean, it just seems a little bit bizarre. Because if you played this game, you're a striker, you know how hard goals are to come by.
Carlton looking for the run of Riley. The offside flag will go up. A minimum of 2 minutes of stoppage time here. New York Red Bulls 2, the breakthrough in the 19th minute from Chris Lima, set up by Jared Stroud. And then 4 minutes later, it was 3-0. 3 goals in a span of 4 minutes, all from open play for New York Red Bulls 2. The first half capped off by Jared Stroud in the 39th minute. That one set up by Buckmaster, so 4-0 at halftime. 5 minutes into the second half, Chris Lima got his second of the game, followed up a few minutes later with a penalty kick earned by John Tolkien, finished by Marcus Epps. And then Lima got his hat trick in the 63rd minute. As Castanera comes out and punches that one away. Conway pulled one back just 2 minutes later to make it 7-1. And then Chris Lima got the 8th goal of the game, his 4th of the day, both a record for New York Red Bulls 2 in their USL history. The New York Red Bulls 2 leading 8-1 here. Now a chance to just knock it around a little bit. A red card in the 70th minute to Luis Fernando made it a little bit easier for New York Red Bulls 2, although since then they've only scored 1 goal. They're already at 7 going into that. Kilwine's able to save it.
The one thing I see with Carlton, who is our star player today for Atlanta United 2, missing a little bit of physicality, I think. I mean, I don't know if it's a result or what, but it definitely gets pushed off the ball a little bit and difficult time holding the ball up sometimes, but definitely a talented player.
You can see the skill, you see the quality. Sometimes runs himself into a defender or two as well.
Yeah.
That timing maybe not quite there as Barlow keeps this ball alive. Epps down the line. This might be the last kick of this game.
And if you're the referee, I don't know why you'd put 2 minutes of injury time. I think you just blow the whistle at 90
minutes. I think 2 minutes was friendly, though. After all these goals plus hydration breaks and everything, it could have been longer. And Kofi takes a crack at it. And that might be it for New York Red Bulls 2. A historic day at MSU Soccer Park. They set their franchise record with 8 goals scored in this game. Chris Lima, the center mid, leads the way with 4 himself. He came into this game with only 2 on the season. What a performance for New York Red Bulls 2. They take care of business. Their second win of the year against Atlanta United 2, and they move into second place in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, you know, I thought it would be with the Heat. I thought it would be a really slow game, and I guess, you know, not a lot of action. And we got the opposite. We got one team really overturning the other one. We get to see 9 goals today, so that's always fun. And there was a bit of intensity to the game for the most part, so it was a good game today. 3
goals in a span of 4 minutes, and Dylan Castanero made a couple huge saves as well. It could have been worse. We'll be back in just a few moments with your post-game wrap-up here on ESPN+. New York Red Bulls 2, the highest-scoring team right now in the USL Championship, and they get it done here today. An 8-1 win over Atlanta United 2. We'll be back in just a moment here on ESPN+.
Lema gets it back. He will take a strike.
Played in. Laurel gets a hand to it.
Denied by Laurel from point blank.
He's standing on his head right now.
Marcus Epps finds some space.
Barlow putting it in, back of the net. No slowing down, number 74. New York puts the exclamation point on this one tonight.
New York Red Bulls facing off against NYCFC coming up tomorrow. They'll hope it's even half as good as what it was today. A historic day for New York Red Bulls, too. Their club franchise record in goals scored total, as well as Chris Lima's record 4 goals in one game. David Goss and Mike Grella with you here on ESPN Plus as we take a look at our final stats. It's pretty obvious. It's pretty overwhelming in favor of New York Red Bulls, too. 21-4 on shots. Your final thoughts?
Yeah, there's not too much to say. Nightmare for Atlanta United 2 and an absolute dream for Red Bull United, for Red Bull 2. I think they just dominated the game, and ultimately Red Bull 2 just totally outmatched them. They're just too good for them today.
John Wolnick's side now, they have 12 goals scored in the last game and a half of soccer that they've played between Bethlehem Steel and this game here today. They'll try and look to continue it in their next game on the road against Memphis 901 FC. For Atlanta United 2, they will look to bounce back in their next game on the road against Birmingham Legion FC. New York Red Bulls 2 move to second in the Eastern Conference. A historic day. The Red Bulls were on parade, 8-1 against Atlanta United 2. Goals galore at MSU Soccer Park. And here on ESPN Plus, for myself, David Goss, as well as my partner, Mike Grella, and to all of you, thanks so much for taking the time to join us. If you're in the area, the next home game in 2 weeks against the Tampa Bay Rowdies. Have a great one, everyone.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.